Okay, so we're really going to dig into Angela Duckworth's grit this time.
Yeah, sounds good.
You know, it's funny how we're all so fascinated by this idea of like genius, right?
Right.
But what if the real secret sauce,
Mhm.
what if it's not about some kind of like innate brilliance,
Yeah.
but something else entirely?
I know exactly what you mean.
Like, what if it all comes down to,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Mm,
good old-fashioned hard work?
It's true.
Or, as Duckworth puts it, grit.
Yeah, we tend to put geniuses on this pedestal, don't we?
We do.
But Duckworth's own life story kind of shows us that it's not always that simple.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And that story about her dad,
Oh, I know.
it always kind of gets me a little bit.
Right.
You know, can you imagine being
Yeah.
told point blank by your own father that you're not a genius? And, like, this isn't just anybody saying it.
Yeah.
This is her dad.
Right. He's a scientist.
He's like a brilliant scientist.
Brilliant scientist.
So he's not exactly setting a low bar here, right?
No, not at all.
And it's almost ironic when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because she goes on to win a MacArthur Fellowship,
That's right.
which people often call the Genius Grant.
It's like the ultimate genius grant.
I know, it's like the ultimate I told you so.
Exactly.
But you know, the thing is, her book isn't about like proving her dad wrong or anything like that.
Right.
It's really about challenging this whole idea that we're either born with talent or we're not. It's much more nuanced than that.
It is.
And Duckworth's argument is that it's our effort that really amplifies our abilities.
Absolutely.
It's not just about having the potential.
Yeah.
It's about what we do with it.
Right. She uses this really great phrase, effort counts twice.
I love that effort counts twice.
Yeah, it's so true.
So talent matters, sure, but it's the effort that we invest that really turns that talent into something real, something substantial.
Exactly. You can have all the talent in the world.
Yeah.
But if you're not willing to put in the work,
It's true.
it's not going to get you very far.
It's like having a fancy sports car,
Okay. I like
but
that.
you don't know how to drive.
Yeah,
It's just going to sit there and look pretty.
exactly. All potential and no payoff.
Right. What's the point?
Exactly.
But then you have someone who might not start out as naturally gifted,
Yeah.
but they're willing to grind.
Yeah.
They're willing to put in the effort to really hone their skills.
But that makes all the difference.
They can achieve some pretty incredible things.
They really can.
And this isn't just like some motivational mumbo jumbo.
Right.
Duckworth backs it up with tons of research and real life examples.
He does.
I mean, even Darwin,
Yeah.
who we consider like this scientific genius, right?
The
Was
genius.
actually described by those who knew him as more of a plodder.
I love that.
Plodder.
Yeah, he just kept at it.
He just kept plugging away.
Day after day.
It reminds me of that saying.
What's that?
Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's so true, though, right? So true.
It's the daily grind, the commitment to showing up day after day that really makes the difference.
And sometimes that grind looks really intense.
Oh, yeah.
Duckworth talks about the training regimen of the Japanese rowing team.
Intense.
Even Olympic gold medalist Mads Rasmussen was like, wow, these guys are crazy dedicated.
Yeah, they were putting in crazy hours.
They were.
But it wasn't just about the quantity of effort either, right?
Yes.
It was about the quality of that effort as well.
Absolutely.
It's not just about clocking in the hours. It's about making those hours count.
You got to be deliberate about it.
Exactly.
You can't just go through the motions.
But you can't just force yourself to do something you hate day in and day out.
Oh, no.
That's where the passion comes in, right?
Absolutely.
You need that fire to keep you going when things get tough.
You need that intrinsic motivation.
Because let's be real.
Let's be real.
Who's going to spend years of their life grinding away at something they find soul-crushingly boring?
Not me.
I know, right?
Life's too short. Exactly. Life's too short for that.
It's about finding that thing that makes you feel like you're in flow.
Yes, like you lose track of time.
We're in the zone.
You're just so engrossed in what you're doing.
Exactly. And she uses the example of Will Short's The Puzzle Master.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the guy turned his passion into his career.
That's amazing.
It's like he gets paid to play with puzzles all day.
It's the dream.
It really is.
So it's about tapping into that intrinsic motivation, that drive that comes from within,
Yeah.
not from some external reward or pressure.
Right. It has to be authentic.
But what about those of us who haven't quite figured out our one true passion yet?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because not everyone has that kind of clarity right away.
It's true.
Some of us are still exploring, still figuring things out.
And that's okay.
It's not always a straight line to finding your passion, is it?
Definitely not.
Sometimes it takes a little bit of trial and error,
Absolutely.
a little bit of exploration.
It's a journey, wouldn't you say?
It really is.
Yeah. A journey of self-discovery.
And sometimes you find your passion in the most unexpected places.
That's the beauty of it.
It's like life throws you a curveball.
It does.
And you end up discovering something you never even knew you were passionate about.
Exactly. And that's a perfect example of how our passions can change and grow over time.
They do.
It's not always about finding that one true calling right away.
Right.
Sometimes it's about being open to new possibilities.
Yes. And about discovering meaning in those unexpected detours that life throws our way.
Exactly.
It's like you're on this winding path,
Yeah.
and you might take a few wrong turns. You might hit some roadblocks along the way.
You will definitely hit some roadblocks.
But sometimes those detours, they lead you to some pretty amazing destinations.
They really do.
And that willingness to explore, to try new things and stick with them even when they're hard. That's what Duckworth calls developing grit.
Exactly.
It's not just about identifying your passions.
It's not enough to just be interested in something.
It's about learning how to cultivate them, how to make them grow.
And that's where a lot of people get stuck.
They do. They think it's just about finding that one thing.
Yeah, like it's going to magically appear one day.
Like a lightning bolt.
Exactly. And then everything will be easy.
Right, but that's not how it works.
Not at all.
It's about putting in the work, the effort.
The grit.
The grit, exactly.
She says it's like a muscle you can train.
I love that analogy.
Yeah, the more you use it, the stronger it gets.
So how do we train this grit muscle?
Well, she breaks it down into 4 psychological assets.
4. Okay, I'm ready.
That contribute to a grittier mindset.
Like building blocks.
Exactly. You need all 4 to really build a strong foundation.
Okay, so what's building block number 1?
It all starts with interest.
Okay, so that initial spark.
That's it. That's the fuel.
That intrinsic motivation that makes you want to learn more.
Exactly. And it's not always about having some big aha moment.
Sometimes it's more subtle than that, right?
Absolutely.
Like you just find yourself drawn to something.
Yeah, you're curious. You want to know more.
And you're willing to put in the time and effort to explore it.
Even if it's not immediately clear where it's going to lead.
So it's about being open to new experiences, to trying new things.
And seeing what sticks.
What resonates with you.
Exactly. And once you find that thing that sparks your interest.
You got to nurture it right.
You got it. You have to give it space to grow.
Like tending to a garden.
I love that analogy.
You can't just plant the seed and walk away.
No. You have to water it. You have to weed it.
Give it the right conditions to thrive.
And sometimes you have to experiment a little.
Right. Like some plants need more sun, some need more shade.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what works best for that particular interest.
And it's not a one-and-done deal either.
Definitely not.
It's an ongoing process.
It's about staying curious, challenging yourself.
Finding new ways to keep that interest alive and growing.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So we've got interest. That's our foundation.
Our starting point.
What's the next building block?
Practice.
Ah, yes. The not-so-glamorous but absolutely essential part.
Can't have grit without it.
Nope. We all want to be naturally gifted.
Of course, who doesn't?
Right. But talent will only get you so far.
It's true. It's the practice that really makes the difference.
It's about honing those skills.
Pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
Getting a little bit better each and every day.
But it's not just about mindlessly repeating the same thing over and over again.
Right. It's not about quantity. It's about quality.
Exactly. Duckworth calls it deliberate practice.
Oh, yeah. Deliberate practice where you're really focused.
You're present, you're paying attention to what you're doing.
And you're actively seeking feedback so you can improve.
You got it. Remember those 4 elements of deliberate practice she talks about?
Oh, yeah. Lay it on me.
Okay, so first, you need a clearly defined stretch goal.
Okay. Something that's challenging but still achievable.
Exactly. Then you have to be fully engaged and focused while you're practicing.
No distractions.
None. Then you need immediate and informative feedback on how you're doing.
So you know what to keep doing and what to change.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And finally, you have to be willing to reflect on that feedback.
And refine your approach.
Make adjustments as needed.
So it's a constant cycle of setting goals, practicing getting feedback, reflecting, and then refining.
Exactly. It's a process.
And it's not always easy.
No, it's not supposed to be.
It's supposed to be challenging.
Because that's how we grow. That's how we get better.
So we've got interest and practice. What's next?
Purpose. Purpose. That's a big one.
This is where things get really interesting, right? Because it's not just about self-improvement anymore.
Right. It's bigger than that.
It's about connecting your work to something larger than yourself.
Exactly.
To something meaningful.
Something that matters.
Yeah, like something that makes a difference in the world.
That's what Duckworth found in a lot of the people she interviewed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a lot of the high achievers, the people she considers paragons of grit.
Like who?
Well, we talked about Jane Golden.
The muralist.
Yeah, and Kat Cole, who went from Hooters waitress to, like, a top executive.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember her.
They both talked about how their work wasn't just about them.
It was about something bigger.
It was about serving others, about making a positive impact.
I love that.
And that sense of purpose
Yeah.
can be incredibly motivating.
Oh, yeah, especially when you hit those inevitable roadblocks.
Exactly, when things get tough.
When you're feeling discouraged.
You need something to keep you going.
And that's where purpose comes in.
It's like that extra fuel that keeps you pushing forward.
It's like remembering your why.
Exactly. Why am I doing this? What's it all for?
And when you have a strong sense of purpose,
Yeah.
those challenges,
Uh-huh.
they don't seem so insurmountable anymore.
They become opportunities for growth.
I love that.
So we've got interest, we've got practice, we've got purpose.
What's the final building block? Hope.
Hope.
Yeah, and not like some wishy-washy kind of hope. Not just like crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
No, no, no. This is about having a deep-seated belief
Okay.
in your ability to overcome obstacles.
So it's about believing in yourself.
Yes, but it's also about believing in your ability to learn,
Okay.
to grow, to adapt.
To figure things out.
Exactly. It's about that voice inside that says, I can do this.
Even when things are tough.
Especially when things are tough.
Because let's be real, sometimes that inner critic can be pretty loud.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right.
But hope is about turning down the volume of that inner critic.
And turning up the volume of that inner cheerleader.
Exactly. It's about focusing on what you can control.
Which is your effort, your attitude, your mindset.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that brings us to Duckworth's research on learned helplessness.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading about that. It was fascinating.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
It's kind of scary, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because it shows how easy it is to just give up.
Especially when we feel like we don't have any control over our situation.
It's like that study with the dogs.
Oh, yeah. The ones who were repeatedly exposed to electric shocks.
Yeah, and they eventually just gave up even when they had a way to escape.
It's like they learned to be helpless.
Exactly, and that's what's so scary.
Because it can happen to any of us.
If we're not careful.
Right, if we let ourselves believe that we're powerless.
That we don't have any agency.
That's why it's so important to focus on what we can control.
Our effort, our attitude, our reactions.
And to surround ourselves with people who support us.
Yes, people who believe in us.
People who encourage us to keep going.
Because when we have that support,
Yeah.
it's amazing how much more resilient we can be.
Absolutely. And that's what grit is all about.
It's about having that unwavering belief in ourselves.
And in our ability to achieve our goals.
Even when the going gets tough.
Especially when the going gets tough.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into grit,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways that our listeners can apply to their own lives?
Well, first and foremost, I think it's important to remember that grit is not some innate talent.
It's not like you're born with it or you're not.
Exactly. It's a skill, a set of habits that we can all cultivate and strengthen over time.
So no matter where you are on your journey,
Whether you're just starting out or you've been at it for years.
you have the power to become grittier.
And it starts with finding something you're passionate about.
Something that lights you up inside.
Something that makes you want to jump out of bed in the morning.
And then it's about putting in the work.
The deliberate practice.
The showing up day after day, even when it's hard.
And remembering your why.
Why you started in the first place.
Because when you have that passion, that purpose, that grit.
You can achieve anything you set your mind to.
Absolutely.
This has been an amazing conversation.
I've really enjoyed it.
Me too. Thanks for taking this deep dive with me.
Anytime.
And to all our listeners out there,
Keep on grinding.
keep on being gritty and keep reaching for your dreams.
We believe in you.
That's it for this deep dive. Everyone, catch you next time.